I've got the spots, the sickness. There's the twins in my brain.
We are 4 stages into the 2024 La Vuelta a España when recording this episode of the Domestique Cycling Podcast. We've had an individual time trial, 2 sprint stages, and a mountain stage, so there's enough stuff to discuss. My name is Hannes, and I'll be your host for today, and I'm joined by my domestiques, Yves and Ethan. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
Hi. Yves, how do you rate the level of racing so far?
It started off quite slowly. We had the opening time trial and then 2 sprint stages. It kicked off finally today, the first mountain top finish. But yeah, it's quite a calm start for us. But I think for the peloton, the parcours together with the heat already this early stage of the race, it's going to be very demanding, and surely knowing there's still two and a half weeks to go. So,
Ethan, who has been the rider of the Vuelta so far for you?
Everyone's going to be basic and say, wow, obviously, because of what he did. Affini as well. Affini with that lead out as well, I think it has to be given a mention, but that's one stage only. Kaden Groves as well. I like Kaden Groves there, but I also want to go back and mention my opinion on the Grand Depart in Portugal. I think it was very disappointing in terms of the parcours. I thought they probably could have made it more challenging. You see along the lines of the Figueroa Classic, I think it's called, this early in the season. If they had a stage like that, it'd have been a banger, wouldn't it?
And what about the amount of fans alongside the road?
You see on the time trial as well, on the beach, the people just not even giving one single damn, really, was they?
I had the feeling it was very, very average.
Very underwhelming.
All right, guys. Let's dive into the race action, starting with the individual time trial. My first thought before the race started was if Joshua Tarling doesn't win this one, it will be Wout van Aert. I was wrong twice.
Well, I think Tarling disappointed. He was disappointed in his effort as well. He expected way more from it. It was his main target for this Vuelta as well, to get that red jersey. But yeah, he failed. And then Wout van Aert, after his promising result at the Olympics individual time trial, taking bronze. He was a second favorite after Tarling, surely knowing that Tarling had that puncture in Paris. But yeah, you can't say that McNulty was a huge surprise. It stays within the UAE Team Emirates ranks, and we've seen this season that the time trial equipment that the team has is exceptional, together with the capabilities from the American, from McNulty on the time trial bike. It's a perfect combo. So
exactly.
Yeah.
For McNulty, it was already his 4th individual time trial win of the season. I looked it up. He won in the Basque Country, in Tour de Romandie, the Nationals in the USA, and now in the Vuelta. So individually for McNulty, it's no big surprise. UAE Team Emirates this season, like you mentioned, Yves, has been on fire. So after all, not that big of a surprise to me.
No.
Yeah, and the same to me. I was also tempted to pick him for the domestic picks, but obviously I was boring. But yeah, going back to Tarling as well, I have a feeling that the pressure plays a part. There's a lot of expectations on such a young rider as well. Like, people are so expectant of him already, which is bonkers, isn't it, really?
Well, what was his explanation after the individual time trial? Because, okay, he could have won a medal at the Olympics, but before the season, I expected him to really crush the field in Paris. He didn't win, didn't get a medal. Now he didn't win this one. How is he feeling about all that?
Immense disappointment, I'd say, wouldn't you? Because if you're aiming for your goals, you got to achieve them. It's obviously going to be a letdown. But yeah, and also because he's so young, it's going to be interesting to see how we can bounce back from all of that adversity as well. And I'll be honest, the Ineos setup right now, does it really help him with all the departures as well? So yeah.
Fun fact after the time trial, Pogacar took the leader jersey in the second stage of the Giro. He did it as well in the second stage of the Tour de France. So in the Grand Tours, the leader's jersey was owned by UAE Team Emirates rider for, what was it? For 41 stages, and there were 43 stages ridden. So that's quite impressive. Only Narvaez and Bardet were other owners of the jersey. But of course, right now it's not within their within UAE Team Emirates anymore.
Didn't Carapaz take it as well?
Yes, he took it for a stage, and then completely blown up on the. Was it?
Yeah, well,
stage
four,
still,
like stage 4.
Still, forget my shitty maths and just.
Yeah, still impressive stat.
Keep the percentage in mind that UAE has on the overall leader jerseys.
A bigger surprise to me was Matthias Vajcek, the rider of Little Trek. He did a really impressive effort, finishing second in that individual time trial. Did you guys believe for a second he could win it?
Yeah. It did look like it at first, didn't it? As well. And a very underrated rider, it must be said, with a lot of potential. I think going back maybe a year or 2 years ago, I think people were talking about him as the next big thing as well, as a big talent.
And I think the listeners can expect something from him as well later on in this Vuelta. The guy is pretty versatile, so he can get a good result on different terrains.
And he's very ambitious as well. If you see his interviews, he really aims for the best. He wanted to take the leader jersey as well in the second stage. Unfortunately, he had trouble, but still overall he has a pretty good season. He finished second in the individual time trial in the Baloise Belgium Tour as well, back in June, behind Wedenskill, but in front of Rune Herregods. So yeah, he's a pretty good time trialist, and he has a good season, and he can it's his first Grand Tour. So yeah, it's
as good, well, yeah.
Good opportunity to make
Belgian Tour. Yeah, he came second in the GC. He lost it by I think maybe a second or 2 seconds to Warren Scholl as well.
He lost it by 4 seconds,
which is crazy. We've seen that the last stage was flipping very, very, very hard terrain, wasn't it? If I remember. Yeah. So yeah, and this Vuelta is a hard Vuelta as well. So want to watch.
Absolutely. We need to talk about the GC guys as well. Primoz Roglic was the best placed GC rider on the 8th place, losing 16 seconds to Brandon McNulty. Was that above your expectations for the Slovenian?
No. I expected him to perform the best amongst the GC riders. Almeida stayed the closest to him, but it was expected as well, to be honest. Roglic is the best time trialist of them all. So yeah.
But still, he had the back problems.
I mean, let's be honest. So far, the back problems look to be non-existent. Especially in today's stage, he was very, very, very comfortable. He didn't even look back once, I think, if I recall.
Today's stage, that's the mountain stage, so stage 4. But Primoz mentioned after stage 2, they interviewed him. He said, yeah, on the bike, I'm not feeling 100% already. And the back still hurts. So that's why I had some doubts about stage 4 as well, but we will get back to that. Maybe one of the least performing riders was Sepp Kuss. 62nd, losing 53 seconds to McNulty and almost, 35 to Primoz Roglic. I had expected a little bit better from the American.
I don't know, maybe people are expecting of him to do well only since the last year's Vuelta, which I don't know if it's a bit hard to put an asterisk around it, but the expectations there should just maybe be calmed down a little bit. I don't know if you lot agree.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Let's move on to stage 2. that was the first sprint stage of this Vuelta, and not the first of many because there aren't that many sprint opportunities. Um, Before the stage, there were two big favorites like Kaden Groves and Wout van Aert, and it was the Australian who opened the score, 1-0 for Kaden Groves. Were you impressed by his sprint, Ethan?
Yeah, definitely. To beat Wow is no slouch, isn't it? And also to overcome the lead out of what Affini had gave to Wow. I mean, so yeah, Kaden Groves there, impressive, and the battle for that points jersey between him and Wow is going to be super spicy, I think.
I don't really agree with that, to be honest. In my opinion, if Kaden Groves wanted to be in the mix for that green jersey, he had to win stage 2 and 3. He lost the third one to Van Aert. So I think it's Wout van Aert's jersey to lose at this point, to be honest.
I think a lot will depend on the
know.
stage tomorrow. Tomorrow
Yeah.
is one that Groves really has to win. It's on paper the easiest stage of this Vuelta, or close to the easiest one. So he really has to win it there, and then it will
But even
depend.
winning isn't enough, in my opinion. Wout van Aert can't finish second or third, because if he finishes like that, he will take a big amount of points once again himself. So yeah,
But
if Van Aert doesn't have bad luck, I can't see him fail for that jersey.
it's not like Groves is a bad climber, so they'll probably get in the break both at one point in the second half of the second week or something. And then, it's Wout van Aert's jersey to lose. I agree with that, but I wouldn't write off Kaden Groves completely, to be honest.
Let's be honest, in a real mountain stage, Wout van Aert will eat Kaden Groves.
Of course, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
but his climbing, it doesn't really look that good so far. I think how many minutes he finished down today? Maybe 17 or 18 minutes down, but that is
Yeah, but
obviously on Roglic.
he
It's
didn't put
saving
in
energy.
effort.
Yeah, he was saving his energy. So yeah, that is perfect for
And
tomorrow, I think.
also the last stage of this Vuelta is an individual time trial in Madrid. It's not a sprint stage like it used to be. So if Wout really has to gain some
Go
extra
all
points,
in.
he can do so there.
Yeah,
But
that's where I agree. Yeah.
there's one thing I don't understand in that points system. Like the second stage was how much for the winner? 30? No, I don't know how much point, but there was difference between points you could win in the second stage and the third one, because the third wasn't classified as a flat one, according to the Vuelta rules. So you have to monitor that. Like if Kaden wins tomorrow, that's probably categorized as a flat stage. The difference between first and second is bigger there than it is in the hilly stages. Well, I don't know really when they choose.
The day Van Aert won, he took 40 points on stage 2. Kaden Groves won, and that day he won 65 of them. But of course, I don't know what the results were at the intermediate sprint. But yeah, there's a bigger difference between flat and medium mountain stages. That's true.
But still, it's Van Aert's jersey to lose. I think we can agree on that.
It wasn't all fun and games for Team Visma Lease bike because, pretty much at the beginning of stage 2, Dylan van Baarle crashed. He had to abandon the Vuelta with a broken hip. A big blow for the team, but also for the Dutchman himself, because it's his third fracture in like 1.5 seasons. No, even his fourth. He broke his hand, his scapula, his collarbone, and now his hip. I mean, the bad luck he had.
He crashed out of the Dauphiné, missing the Tour de France, crashing out of the Vuelta in the second stage. The Vuelta didn't really even start in stage 2 for him. He was a crucial domestique for Sepp Kuss, even for Wout van Aert in some hilly stages. I think it's his second season within Visma colors, and he won Kuurne, his first race for the team. But after that, he seems cursed. So maybe it's time to go back to Ineos and save the team.
Well, they could use him.
Yeah, they certainly can.
They could use 50 of them. So yeah.
Groves launched his sprint behind the back of Wout van Aert. Do you think the loss of Dylan van Baarle had something to do with that?
Maybe because he's a very crucial asset. I think. No, he is shaking his head.
I know two of the lead-out men from Groves had mechanicals in the last final kilometers, so it was the plan for Groves to just do the lead-out train and come out of the wheel of his teammate. But then he switched plan and he went into the wheel of Van Aert.
Yeah, but then why didn't he do the same in stage 3?
I don't recall that. Weren't they burned down quite massively, the Alpecin team, because of that Victor Kampenaerts attack? I think that was the effort that the lead-out man couldn't really afford to do, and that's why Affini came over. No, I don't remember anymore, but I think Kampenaerts fucked the chances of the lead-out from Alpecin in stage 3.
Anyway, Groves won stage 2. Can we say the Vuelta of Alpecin-Deceuninck is already successful now?
Yeah.
Yes, and I think
think agree.
the breakaway chances are also there for the team as well.
I would like to bring in one little discussion I heard on the live coverage with Nathan van Hooijdonk. In stage 3, he mentioned the result of stage 2 with Lennart van Eetveld being 5th, Vlasov being 8th. That are two GC men who sprint to the finish. So the 4-kilometer rule, they just kept on going. Another Van Hooijdonk mentioned is taking too much risks, and it takes too much energy to do so. I was thinking about it. I had a little chat with Hannes about it as well. But Ethan, what's your opinion on that?
I mean, with the quality of the sprint field, I don't see what's wrong with it, really. Vlasov packs a punch, really, and we've seen the parkour of that stage as well. So at least, what's the point of not trying, you know? You at least got to try.
Hannes?
No, mate.
Yes.
No, I don't agree, to be honest. I agree with Nathan van Hooijdonk. It's way too risky, and there is no way that Alexander Vlasov was thinking I'm going to beat Kaden Groves and Wout van Aert.
Well, you never know; they could crash.
So yeah, they probably wanted to get into bonifications. I do get that, but still, this is a really tough Vuelta with a lot of altitude meters, and then you need every single bit of energy. So yeah, if I was a DS, I would say, mate, keep calm and don't do that again.
You're ruining the vibes. I think there. You should just let it happen. I think.
Yeah, you want real ciclismo.
Yeah, you need to let it happen because you never know what actually ends up. You know, that's the thing.
Yeah.
You say no.
No, I won't agree. I think. Before the sprint was launched, there was a big crash with once again some Ineos riders involved. So after not winning stage 1, Narvaez and Tarling were involved in a crash. It was pretty bad. Also, Max Poole was involved. Do you think, Yves, the Narvaez crash will have had consequences on their results in stages 2 and 3?
Well, I don't really think so. It's not like there is a fast man in the Ineos team. Narvaez would have maybe got a top 10. But yeah, it doesn't really influence their results in stage 2 and 3 for me.
All right. We already discussed pretty much of stage 3, but it was also the stage in which Luis Angel Mate was in the breakaway for the second day in a row. He's the oldest rider of this year's La Vuelta, the rider of Euskaltel. He took the polka dot jersey. How much respect does he deserve for doing that at his age? He's retiring at the end of the season, so I think it's pretty nice what he did.
It's a lovely goodbye. The guy had a astonishing career. Not the guy who wins a lot, but he was within teams to get in the breaking Grand Tours, etc. Then he decided to move to Euskaltel as Spaniard. So all those young guys within that team look up to him, learn from him. You saw that in the third stage as well. He was in there with a teammate, and they were just communicating how they were doing it. So they were even slowing down at some point. They were dropping the pace in the front group to conserve energy, because they knew the peloton would slow down as well. And that are things that you only learn by experience, by the huge amount of times he has been riding in front of a peloton. So yeah, it's astonishing to see at this age that he still wants to do it, loves to do it. More importantly, and he's just a mentor for all those young Spaniards within the Euskaltel team.
There's one more thing we need to talk about of stage 3. Ethan, I'll ask the question to you. What do you think of the celebration of Wout van Aert in his red jersey?
It's
albatross?
beautiful, isn't it? Like when he was in the yellow jersey and he did it, it's a woo. It's very nice. I like it. I think.
But still, there was some criticism.
The people obviously criticize everything nowadays, don't they? So yeah, let them cry about it. I'd say.
I don't know if you guys saw an interview with him, but his teammates mentioned that he had to wear red socks because he was in a full red skin suit, and they asked him to do red socks as well. Wout said no, because when he won the stage in Calais in the yellow jersey, he was wearing white socks as well, and he wanted to do exactly the same celebration as he did there. So he could have two exactly the same pictures, but with a different color of skin suit. So yeah, he was pretty confident at the start of stage 3. I think we can say that.
I think we already know where he's heading for in May 2025, don't we?
Pink and then the full collection.
He needs his third picture.
Yeah.
Now, about that celebration, I don't understand people who criticize riders who have such a unique celebration. Like there was criticism on Remco Evenepoel as well at the Olympics with his telephone move. Yeah, I don't know what they want. Do they want grey mouses? Grey mice
want the thing
to win
where you
stages?
literally
I don't know.
press the computer, say, yep, there you go. There's my race done, thanks. Like Roglic normally does that sometimes, doesn't he? But yeah, criticizing
a bit of emotion, a bit of fun.
It's boring, isn't it, when people just criticize everything? But yeah, the Remco thing, that was a once in a lifetime when people criticize it.
Magical moment.
Then while doing that as well, it's beautiful, really. And especially after what he's been through as well in the year, just let him have his fun.
I completely agree. Steve, stage 4. What was your plan before that stage? What did you think was going to happen?
I said it was going to be a GC day, and that Red Bull, BORA, hansgrohe would control the day. I was nervous a little bit when that group of 11 got away. Then I said to myself, shit, here we go. Podcast of tonight is going to be nice. But they were caught again. And then a group of 5 rode away. And I think we all knew at that point it would be a GC day. Certainly Red Bull, BORA, hansgrohe came to the front pretty early on in the stage. Full force. And they just paced all day long till the final climb. And yeah, spoiler, Roglic finished it off in a brilliant way, let's say.
Ethan, I don't know, what were your thoughts before the stage? Because I was thinking the exact opposite.
I was brainwashed by Mr. Dieter losing to thinking it would be a breakaway. And I honestly thought it would be a breakaway as well after the previous Vuelta things where we've seen the first mountain finish given away to a breakaway, given away as in quotation marks. But yeah, and then I was watching Think on the start of the images, and yeah, it was just BORA on the front all day. happily pacing in I think it was like 37 or 38 degree heat, which is pretty insane.
I wasn't thinking Red Bull Bora would control the stage because a couple of things. Primoz, after stage 2, mentioned his back wasn't 100%, so I thought, yeah, they're not going to control. And if there will be a GC fight, it will be like 5 minutes behind the breakaway. And second of all, I didn't expect Bora that they wanted that red jersey already after stage 4.
But it was pretty weird. I don't know if you guys saw the post-race interviews today. But there was an interview from Roglic and from Martinez. Roglic mentioned basically he had no option then to go for it because the team, didn't ask him anything. They just paced all day. And Martinez, as opposite, said, we controlled the stage. It was planned. We wanted to go for the stage win and the general classification. So someone is telling a lie there, or the team director, the director sportif, is saying different things to different riders. But I already knew after that individual time trial where Roglic finished 8th that the back would be okay. But he mentioned it afterwards today as well, that he suffered quite a bit with his back on the final climb. And he hopes he doesn't get any worse through the next 2.5 weeks. So he still feels it.
The fact that he didn't attack, what does that tell you?
Nothing for me.
I think nothing as well. I think if you see in the final 5 kilometers, it was him actually on the front of the small group.
Yeah, he was suffocating his competitors, but we didn't see a big attack. That's why I think he was just thinking about a stage win and getting it with a sprint.
It's typical Roglification, isn't it, I think?
I don't know. I think the combination of the heat with the very steep slopes is just a deadly combination to completely explode when you don't pace yourself perfectly. So I think he did the perfect thing by pacing. He did basically the Almeida strategy, just pacing up the climb and let the other stuff is in the wheel. So he had the stage win in his mind, of course, because the team did insane work the whole day long. But I don't think an attack would be smart as well. We saw with Felix Gall, he exploded and he lost at the end. No time because the pace was dropped a little bit, but still, if they would have kept the pace up, then Gall would have lost seconds and he would have paid it cash, his attack.
The stage ended on a sprint with 7 riders. Roglic, Van Aert, Almeida, Mas, Gall, Riccitello and Landa. Were there any surprises in that group?
Van Aert for me.
Van Aert as well. And also Landa, because from where he came back from, you're saying there, from where he came back from. The fella came from literally nowhere to come back to that group, which is crazy. And
it also shows that this climb wasn't really a Mikel Landa climb, but it will give him confidence, I think, for the next couple of stages, the fact that he got back. For me, the biggest surprise was Riccitello. If you asked me during the Vuelta preview what my expectations were for the guy, I didn't really believe in GC Riccitello. I believed in gaining experience to go for GC, but what I saw today is pretty encouraging. He was really strong, and he is a big contender for a top 10, I think.
Yeah, and because of today, he's the main GC leader for Israel, because they were starting the race with Woods as well as a leader of the team.
George Bennett.
And George Bennett. George Bennett saved his day a little bit. He only finished 28 seconds after the winner. But Woods is already done. It's a little less than 4 minutes that he lost today. So Riccitello, big surprise for me to be in that group as well. So kudos to you, Hannes, for mentioning him and believing in him in the preview.
There was also a funny moment on the line. I think Lennart Van Aert he celebrated a little too early. He thought he got the win, or did you hear anything about that?
He mentioned it post-race that he he thought he won. He didn't feel Roglic coming, and at one moment Roglic was there, and before he realized, he overtook him. But my question is, if Van Aert doesn't raise that one hand, does he win?
No, I don't think so.
No, Roglic had some flipping speed coming through there.
I think the only way Van Aert could have won was to not react on Mikel Landa, who tried to launch it with like 400 meters to go, I think. Primoz Roglic was basically in the slipstream of Van Aert, and then in the final 75 meters he got that fast kick to the line, and that is where he won it.
And that was go for it.
Yeah, with that Landa attack, if they pissed around a bit for literally probably maybe 50 more meters, he could have genuinely have got that, because he had some flipping.
It was a golden moment. Absolutely. Yeah. Yves, what did you think about Van Aert?
Well, before the start of the Vuelta, I didn't really know what to expect. The team was mentioning something about general classification, but I had to be honest, I didn't really see it. We had a discussion with Dieter as well in the preview, mentioning it wouldn't be. I don't think it's the best idea with the knee issues he had the past weeks to perform 3 weeks at top level, at the highest level possible. But it was a tough stage today, and he was up there. So now he's sort of obliged to go for GC and to follow the GC, man.
I didn't even have the feeling he was really struggling to hold the wheel. In a certain way, it looked pretty comfortable.
He did.
To be joining Roglic and Mas.
Yeah. And then as well with the forthcoming stages that's coming up, with those kind of like that finish, I think he's going to maybe pick up 1 or 2 victories if he continues that form.
You briefly mentioned Mas there, but how easy was Mas following that wheel of Roglic for the majority of the climb? It was like
I was going to mention that on the uphill, he looked the best to me.
Yeah, he was like very comfortable in the wheel of Roglic. Well, very nice to see. It wasn't. We saw Mas suffer in other stage races, so we see the difference between a Mas who's suffering and the Mas today was exceptional.
And also, this was more of a Primoz Roglic climb than it was an Enric Mas climb.
Yeah, true.
So promising for the coming 2 weeks. If there are winners, there are obviously losers as well. Who was the biggest surprise to you losing time?
Yeah, I think I have to say Carapaz, because he was my GC favorite. But when we say Carapaz, I have to say in the same sentence Adam Yates.
Yeah.
He was the main man next to Almeida for UAE. Almeida was up there, but Yates was never in the game. He was already at the foot of that steep part. He was already a couple of wheels back, and then Sivakov launched it. I don't know for who or for what at that point, and then it was the death sentence for Yates, and he wasn't able to come back. He lost 130 in the end, and that's quite a bit, certainly knowing there were only 4 tough kilometers in this stage. And losing 1 minute 30 on a teammate, that means that Almeida has to have a really bad day, and that Yates is almost obliged to be a domestique or a luxury domestique who can do some random attacks against
even
Roglic.
Brandon McNulty finished in front of him.
Indeed. So McNulty didn't wait on Yates as well to pace him. That's interesting to see as well.
There's one leader left, I think.
Yeah, I think I have to agree. But so, Ethan, your biggest disappointment today was Yates?
Yeah, I think as well. Everyone was writing him up as like literally going to be the favourite and going to win. And I honestly believed he'd win as well. It's his type of parkour, isn't it? With that steep section. Well, yeah, maybe like the combination of the heat played into it, I think maybe.
Maybe we should give a brief summary of the losers of the day for our listeners. Max Poole and Michael Woods, they lost 3 minutes 43 seconds. Damon Arensman, who crashed earlier in the stage together with the Plus, I think, lost 2 minutes 35. Kian Uiterbroeks, 1 minute and 38 seconds. Yates and Carapaz, 1 minute 29. Ben O'Connor, 1 minute and 11 seconds. And Carlos Rodriguez, 51 seconds.
You forgot it. You forgot the GC, man. Guillaume Martin, the philosopher. He lost 1 minute 48.
I didn't put him in that list, and I knew you would mention
him. One little question, maybe. Red Bull BORA controlled the whole day. If I recall correctly, I haven't seen Dani Martinez at the front of the race the whole day, and still the Colombian lost over 4 minutes. What does this mean about his shape? Or
Not
is he saving himself? You were too fast.
Not there at all, yeah, I'd still say. Because, yet again, with the stages coming up, you'd expect that he's going to like those type of stages.
Yeah, I have to be honest, I expected UAE and BORA to be stronger on the uphill, because it was pretty fast man against man. UAE had only Almeida at the front, and Roglic was only at the front for BORA, Red Bull BORA. So
Sivakov was there for a while as well, I think.
Yeah, the first kilometer.
Vlasov
for a bit as well, but still I expected more, because the lineups they have at the start of this Vuelta, was promising, but yeah.
The way Alexander Vlasov rode that final climb is pretty interesting to me as well. At first he dragged Primoz Roglic, but he finished 12th on 38 seconds, so that means he didn't save energy. He still went full gas to lose not too much time. Do you think in his head he's still a co-leader?
He's the backup option, I think.
Yeah, for me, the team management wants to keep him somewhat close in the GC, so they have multiple cards to play with. Certainly knowing Almeida has McNulty up there as well in the top 10. To have a shadow man close to the second man of UAE might be a smart thing to do. So Vlasov, if he goes 80% when he does domestic duty for Roglic, and then keeps on pushing till the finish, then I think it's a good idea. But I don't think he sees an opportunity as leader. I think the team goes all in for Roglic, but it's to keep something behind for whatever a Kus move, like last year, for example, a big group that gets away. Then Vlasov can be in there, McNulty can be in there, and then BORA is still on the winning side of things.
We've got 8 riders within a minute of Primoz Roglic, being Almeida, Mas, Tiberi, Van Eetveld, Gal, McNulty, Skjelmose, and Landa. Who do you think after today are the main competitors of Primoz Roglic?
Mas, number 1.
Yeah, Mas, number 1.
Almeida, 2. And then I expect Van Eetveld to fade away in the 3rd week. I don't know about Tiberi. But I think Almeida and Mas as the main contenders for Roglic.
I think that's a big conclusion. We've got only 3 names left. If you look at it, Mikel Landa was good today, but he's already 58 seconds behind Primoz Roglic, knowing that he won't be there for bonifications probably against Roglic. That's a long way. Sepp Kuss, he's 1 minute 14 seconds behind him. Before the La Vuelta, we said there were a lot of GC competitors. Now we have 3 left, according to you, Yves.
I think today was an eye-opener for a lot of spectators, for a lot of riders, but still, it's still 2 weeks and a half to go. You don't know how the heat and the constant pressure during the stages, how the riders will react on it. But it's a fact that Adam Yates was top favorite, but he's only 5th when you look at the GC of UAE Team Emirates. Almeida, McNulty, Sivakov, and Del Toro are in front of him in the general classification. So Yates is gonna be almost the first one to Domestique in a mountain train if it goes on like this. But yeah, today was an eye opener for me.
All right. Is that the conclusion we're going to make? Stage 4 was the eye opener.
And it's gonna get even hotter when they reach Andalusia. So
And even harder, the stages,
yeah,
there's some absolutely crazy stages coming up, like with that heat as well.
yeah, it's the recovery will be so important. Drink enough, eat enough, stay hydrated. You saw it already during the stage. They were taking so much bottles. They were pouring so much water over their heads, ice cubes. Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, imagine you have to ride a bike for over 4 hours in 40 degrees. It's yeah, it's torture for humans.
Anything you would like to add to this 4 stages review of La Vuelta?
No, I only want to wish Paul Mikel a happy birthday. He finished third or fourth in the second stage, fourth. So yeah, it's a good result for Equipo Can Pharma, and yeah, happy birthday to the guy.
Lovely end to this episode. Thank you everyone for tuning in and for listening to this episode of the Domestique Cycling Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I think we will be back in a couple of days for a new review of La Vuelta. Adios.
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 I've got the spots, the sickness. There's the twins in my brain.